I made a special gift for a special little girl. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog number 117 for Monday, May the 27th, 2019. And what have I been up to this week in projects? Well, I created an activity book for my second cousin. My first cousin was coming here for a visit on Saturday, and I decided, like, he's got a little girl. She's going on 5, I think. And what do you do with a 5-year-old? I don't have 5-year-olds in my house very often. And I certainly didn't want her getting into my craft room because, well, one, do I want a 5-year-old using my craft stuff? And two, you know, some of the craft stuff is harmful. So what can I do to keep her amused? Well, I decided to make her a little activity kit, and I've got a little video to show you what that looks like. So this weekend I have my first cousin and his little girl coming for a visit, and I thought I'd make his little girl a little activity station kind of a thing, because I don't want a 5-year-old playing in my craft supplies. Okay, maybe that's just me. Anyways, I created this. I designed it myself, and I sewed it all up, and so you can see on the front cover I have put a little embroidered butterfly, and I put her name on here as well, and it all ties up with this big bow. And when you open it up, it has 3 sections, and I filled it with some little activity books, like this little sticker book and a coloring book and some pencil crayons and a little notebook. Those came as a kit along with this little pencil case that's here, which has got some pencils in it, a little notepad, an eraser, and a sharpener, and another little sticker book back here. So some things to keep her amused while the adults visit. So I hope she likes it, and it was fun to make. I did run into a few little problems, like this is not the way I wanted these to come out. I wanted to embed them in the seams, but actually it turned out okay. This way as well. So they're put enough of this on here that she can practice her bow tying. So I think that'll be a fun little item for her. Oh yeah, I also embedded in the layers a plastic cutting board just to give it some strength so it doesn't all collapse in on itself as well. So I'm kind of happy with this design, and I hope she'll have a lot of fun with it while she's here. So she seemed to enjoy that, and you know, I thought it was something a little different. Also, I had embroidered, as you saw on the cover, her name, and guess what? I spelled her name wrong. I left out a C. It should have been M-A-C-K instead of M-A-K. I'm an idiot sometimes, but I didn't really know how to spell her name, and I didn't want to contact her father because I wanted this to be a surprise. So I went on to his Facebook page, her father's Facebook page, and lo and behold, he never mentions her by name, but other people had. And I found one person who actually spelled out her name, and that was the spelling they had given, and so I copied it. But anyways, it'll be an interesting story for her to tell her children 30 years down the road. Whatever. Okay, what else? Now, you know that we did not do a Stephen and Walter live this week. And I did explain in a little teaser video why we weren't doing it. I don't know if I explained it clearly, so I'm going to take a couple of seconds right now just to explain to you what's happening with Stephen and Walter live. We're getting bored. What can I say? We do the same thing week in and week out, and if we're getting bored, then people watching it must be getting bored as well. So we want to change it over a little bit. Now, this is a little bit more complicated than it might seem. What do I mean by changing it over? Well, it would be really nice if we could encourage more discussion. So we're just not a couple of talking heads in the video, that other people would feel free to get really engaged and involved in the conversation. I mean, our regulars that come on do that now. But, you know, the topics we talk about are pretty tame. I mean, we talk about what we've done the last week. We talk a little bit about what's in the news. But most of the stuff we talk about is pretty much, you know, just the run-of-the-mill, everyday kind of thing. So we want to maybe make it a little bit more interesting. We want to shake up our location a bit too. We always do it from our kitchen. Well, that's of course because we're broadcasting from an iPad. We would like to change the location, but when we change the location, it's a whole new setup. You know, lighting is different, our positioning is different, all that kind of stuff. Well, recently I've been experimenting with some stuff that I bought to enhance the videos that I make for the Idiot Quilter. I'm going to actually talk a little bit more about that a little bit further on in the vlog. So it would be nice if we could, you know, do some transitions between scenes, have a better sound system. Well, we've already got a better sound system. For those of you that have tuned in over the last couple of weeks, we have a Yeti microphone. You know, it's one of those big cone-like microphones, and it does seem to give a little bit more depth to the sound than what we were using before. So anyways, we're experimenting. We still have not come up with what it is we want to really talk about, but we are thinking about going more thematic. So rather than us talking about what's new with my mother, what have we been doing this past week, this kind of stuff, what's on YouTube, we thought we might pick a theme. And these themes will vary from week to week. One week we might talk about being a tourist, travel. Another week we might talk about lifestyle. Another week we might talk about, you know, things in the news, politics, whatever. But in such a way that I'm hoping we'll be able to engage people in the conversation, much more so than what we have in the past. That's our plan. This may work, this may not work. I don't know. But the bottom line is we'd like to have more interaction with the people who are listening to us and watching us. And so we're going to see what we can do about that. So there's going to be some growing pains, I'm sure, with this kind of thing. So just bear with us and we'll see how it works out. You know, if you don't try these things, you don't know. So that's why we did not do a Stephen and Walter this week. That was one reason, because we weren't ready to start a new format. And second reason was we were invited to a birthday barbecue, and it happened to fall at the same time as when we'd normally do Stephen and Walter Live. So we'll talk more about that barbecue a little bit later on in the vlog. So anyways, that's why there wasn't a Stephen and Walter Live this week. But there will be a Stephen and Walter Live next week. It's going to be 1 hour later, though, than our usual time, because I'm teaching an art journaling class. I teach an art journaling class, as you know, the first Sunday of every month. So it finishes around 4 o'clock. By the time I get home and we get set up, it's going to be 5 o'clock. So next week, Stephen and Walter Live. Heaven only knows what the format's going to be like. It's going to be very much an experiment. And that'll be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and down below I have links to a whole lot of things. Of course, there isn't a link to Stephen and Walter Live this week since there wasn't one. But I do have 3 links to Idiot Quilter episodes. A special message one, episode 43 and episode 44. Now, again, I'm experimenting with things here. That's why there's more than usual of the Idiot Quilter episodes. The one that says a special message, I've had a lot of views on that for something that was only a couple of minutes long, and where I explain in that what my plans are for the Idiot Quilter. So you might want to check that out. And then I have 2 videos where I put together a block for a Quilt of Valour project. And the first video, that would be episode 43, I used one setup. I wasn't really happy with that setup. So the next one I'm more happy with, still got some tweaking to do. So you're going to see a difference between those two. And really it was me experimenting with the additional equipment that I have bought. What have I bought? Well, I have 2 cams now in my sewing room. And I've hooked it up in such a way that I have a wireless keyboard that basically I can just hit a key and it'll switch cameras for me. It's not the most elegant kind of procedure. There is a really cool tool on the market, I think I've mentioned it before, that does this and a lot more, but it's $100 to $200 for it. And I thought, well, wait, let's just see if I can make what I already have work. And if I find that this is not working for me, then maybe I will invest in that other more expensive toy. But right now, I'm kind of happy with the direction it's going. One thing I'm not happy about, however, is trying to do streaming videos on YouTube using that setup. And that was my other plan, was that we would be able to do streaming through this particular system I have, which meant that we could do, screen captures as we're live. We could switch cameras back and forth to whatever. So far that hasn't been working out, and a couple of you came online when I tried to do an experimental live one day last week, and you gave me some input on that, which was great. But I'm very annoyed right now with the way things are working on YouTube, and I don't know if it's, well, I do know. It's a combination of YouTube and my equipment. But when I go looking for help on these things, I can't find anything that addresses my particular problem. Nothing on YouTube, nothing on many forums are out there, nothing. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but I'm trying. So we'll see. The reason I wanted to switch over away from the iPad is because we have those freeze-ups, as you know, and I still to this day don't know why we have them. I am thinking of actually doing Stephen and Walter Live using my iPhone instead of the iPad. My iPhone has a lot more memory in it. It has a faster processor, and I'm thinking that maybe that's part of the problem with the freeze-ups. Again, it's all experiments. We won't know until we try. So, as I said earlier, Stephen and Walter Live this week is going to be an experiment for sure. Okay, and Idiot Quilter is still in process. It's developing. As time goes by, I'm sure I will work out the kinks and things will be better, so please bear with me. Okay, so what's pissing me off this week? Nothing that I can really think about. No, I think that's 2 weeks in a row. Nothing pissing me off. So let's move on. And what have I bought new this week? Not a thing. Nothing. Nada. Okay, so that moves us right into the book review of the week. Went into my stash, pulled up this. Hand Lettering Made Easy. Now, I have terrible handwriting. I cannot even read my own handwriting. And the older I get, the less practice I get on doing writing, because I use a keyboard all the time. I use my computer. So my writing is horrible. So I always admire people who can do fancy hand lettering in scrapbooks and on cards and mixed media projects and things like that. So some time ago, I don't know how long ago, I found this book. And I thought, well, maybe I could teach myself, because it's got all kinds of fonts and things, shows you how to make them, how to use them, all kinds of things like that. It's a really nice book too, in terms of page layouts and everything that's in it as well. You see here's some of the alphabets that you can practice in here. Now, having said that, I have never practiced any of these. I still just like sticking pre-made phrases and words that I've cut out or have stickers for or generate on the computer onto whatever I am doing. But if you are serious about, learning the style of this, it's sort of like learning calligraphy. I tried that once too. Then this might be the book for you. It is still available. It's called Hand Lettering Made Easy. It's by Debra. Okay. I can't read her font. Beagle. Sorry, Beagle. Okay, Debra Beagle. And I looked it up on Amazon.ca, and now it's not a cheap book. Because on Amazon.ca, brand new, they want $44.75 for this, plus $3.99 for shipping. So that puts the price over about $48 for this book. Originally, I paid $34.99 for it. But the good news is it is available on Amazon as a used book, and it started at around $9.38. I have no idea what the shipping would be. So it might be worth looking this up. As I said, it's pretty good for teaching you how to do hand lettering, and if that's what you're into and you want to try it out, then this might be the resource for you. And I've put the link to Amazon for this book in the show notes below. Okay, so that takes us to this week's work in progress, and it's my next part of the iCraft Explosion box. In the iCraft Explosion box, this time I'm doing the background panels, and next week I'm going to show you alternative background treatments, because if you remember, there was actually 3 boxes in that kit. So this week I'm showing you how I decorated one of them. Next week I'm going to show you some interesting, at least I think they're interesting, alternatives to decorating this kind of project. So here it is. So the next part of putting this box together is doing some initial decorating, and that means dressing up the sides and the interior of the box with some decorative paper. Now, this is the box I made in the last sequence, but I got thinking it would probably be easier to decorate this box when it's in pieces rather than when it's all together like this. I think it would be easier anyways. So what I've done is I've also designed in my Cricut Maker the pieces that I need for each part. So all I needed to do after I put that into Cricut Maker was put in my decorative paper, and it cut out the pieces the right sizes that I need. And I've left about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, or 1/4 an inch actually, all the way around each piece, so that I will have a bit of a border. But after I got these all cut out, I'm thinking, this is not the easiest way to decorate this box. So I went back into the package, and as I said, it came in craft black and white. And I took out the black pieces, and I've started to do a partial assembly of this. I'm leaving the drawers off. This is the interior of the box. I'm leaving the drawers off so that I can first of all lay down my background papers. And this is some graphic 45. You know how I love graphic 45. So I'm just going to adhere with double-sided tape, although you could use glue if you wish, the panels for the inside and the outside of the main box. Now, am I going to, because I'm doing this on black and because this paper is very dark, I think I am still going to darken the edges. And for that, though, I'm thinking I'm going to use, I wonder what blue would look like on this. So I'm going to find some blue ink, and I'll be back in a second. So I've gone into my supply of inks, and I've decided to use the Distress Oxides in Faded Jeans color. And I've already done this piece, and it doesn't show up all that clearly, but there is something there, which it's subtle, but I think I'm going to use it anyways. I just want to get rid of these little white edges that are on the edge of the paper when you cut it out. Now, in some of the other videos, I said use Stays-On instead. But I'm going to use the Distress Oxides with these because I'm really not going to be applying much wet medium on top of these, so I won't be reactivating them. So they should be fine. And I'm just going to do the pieces for the outside of the box. And as I said, this is very subtle. It definitely is not probably picking up on the video. I can see it though, and that's okay. I just think it gives it a bit of a finishing touch. Okay, almost done. And there we go. We are done. So now we're going to attach our pieces to the inside of the panel. And as I said before, I'm going to use my double-sided tape with this. So I'm just putting the tape along the perimeter. of the piece. Okay, that one I went off a little bit, but that's okay. It's not going to show up or cause me any harm. And I do want to varnish these. And get out my trusty pick. Oops. Not so trusty. Okay, let's get a hold of that. There we go. And I'm just going to center it on this panel, and it doesn't really matter which way I go with this paper. And I just want to, so I'm leaving a black border all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rest of the pieces on both the inside and the outside of the box, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing next. Okay, so I've got the interior and the exterior of the box already decorated. Now I'm going to work on the drawers that go on inside. So this is one of the drawers right here, and I haven't assembled it yet, but I'm not going to. But I know that where I want to put my paper is going to be on this inside flap and on this outside flap and then on the top. So I have cut pieces already that will fit on each of these. So before I put the double-sided tape on for actually forming the drawer, and I just realized something interesting. I think I cut my pieces wrong. I did. I cut them a little long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them down. And it looks like, I guess I put the wrong measurements in. So I've got out my little trimmer here. No big deal. We can do this. I just have to figure out how long these should be. So basically, I measured this. It's 3 inches. I want a 1/4 inch border, so I'm going to do it at 275. What did I cut these at? I cut these at 3 inches. Did I make them the right width? Actually, I think I've got 1/8 of an inch around. So yeah, I cut these at 1.25. The width is 1/2. That's fine. They should work. And they will. So I'm just going to take off 1/4 of an inch on each one of these pieces, and I think I can probably cut, see if I can cut 4 at a time. So 275 is what I want them to be at. That's 275. Yes. And let's just check here. Yep, that's going to work. So we'll take another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, sometimes math is not my forte. So these little things happen. But if you've got a paper trimmer, you have no problems. Okay, let's put that aside. Let's clean up the pieces that I'm shooting all over the place. Get them off here of my work area. They're now on my floor. Yeah. Okay, pick those up later. Okay, so I'm going to do the inside first, which means make sure I put them on the outside. Oh, wait, let me get this right. Yeah. So one will go here, one will go here, and all the way around. But let's just test this, shall we? Put on 2 strips of double-sided tape. Now, I'm using the same background paper for the entire box. You could alter it if you so desire. You don't have to do the same thing, of course. Whatever
grabs you. As you notice, the back of this, because it's double-sided paper, has a different but coordinating pattern. So I could use these on this side too, but I think I'm just going to keep it all the same. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to ink around the edges. Okay, we're going to eyeball this. There we go. Varnish it. Get out my ink. Should have done this before I put the tape on, but I didn't. But I will for the next ones. Now let's just test and see if this is in the right spot. So when I glue it together, that piece will go in and that will go out. And yes, that's what I need to do. So I need to put one of these all the way around here, and then I'll be back. Okay, so now I have my decorative panels on the first drawer. You notice I left one blank because that's the one that's going to get glued onto this panel, so you're never going to see it, so no sense wasting paper on that. I also put in a centerpiece, which is the bottom, and a centerpiece here that'll be the top. Now all I have to do is assemble the box. So I'm going to do that off video and I'll be back. Okay, so I've finished decorating the drawers that go inside the box, and I decided to use a different color of background paper, just to add a little contrast to it all. So that's all done, they're attached, and so this all goes together just like that. And then I've already done the lid as well, and on the lid I use two different papers, again just for some variety, and the lid just goes on just like this. And you may have to square it up a little bit by squeezing it. And there we go. So there we have our background papers all on our exploding box. And it opens out like this. And so in the next segment, I'm going to do some more embellishing of this box, and I'm thinking about making something to put inside the little drawers that are here as well. But I think that looks really quite cute. So we'll see it for the next installment.
So I hope you found that interesting, and we'll carry on with it next week. So events in the past week. Update on my mother, she's fine. She did have an appointment with the dentist. They come to the home for a cleaning and a checkup, and my mother's teeth are really, really bad. She has not been to a dentist in years. She also doesn't have insurance for this, but this service that's coming in sounded fairly reasonable in the price. And so I haven't heard back from them, but I did ask them to, if they had any recommendations for making my mother's oral health a little better, to let me know. Well, my mother's kind of got it in her head now that she would like dentures. She doesn't have that many teeth left. And I think that would probably be a good idea. But of course, the expense of dentures, who knows? But my mother's not on the bony knees of poverty, okay? I look after her funds, and I think we could afford dentures. And, for the sake of her health, because, they say good oral health, it's important to your immune system, to everything else in your body. It's all related. So I think, we'll investigate this further. The one thing I'm a little concerned about is, how much discomfort this might put my mother in. But she seems to want to do this, so, and she's perfectly capable of making her own decisions as well. So we'll go with that. So I'm going to wait and see if I hear from them, in the next day or two. If I don't, I'll actually call the service up and say, what can we do? And go from there. But generally speaking, my mother seems to be pretty good. She complains about the food. She complains about the ladies she sits with when she eats. She complains about her roommate. So everything's normal. Everything's fine. Okay, so we went to a barbecue. A friend of ours had his 73rd birthday. His birthday is actually today, Monday, but they had a big barbecue. And it was a lot of fun. But I think the highlight of the barbecue, besides the great food, they had ribs. And literally, you hear the expression fall off the bone, ribs? These did. They were probably the best ribs that I have ever had. They were just delicious. And the whole thing was very nice. But one person showed up who is a flight attendant, and our friend, he has always had a fascination with commercial airliners. He has one room in his house dedicated to that as a theme. He bedspread, models of planes, pictures, the whole bit. In fact, I had made him a little set, and I think you will see it. I think I made a video of that. Oh, that was back about a vlog ago or so. I think I had shown you a clip of what I had made him, the bar mat and the coasters, with a travel theme to it, an airplane theme. And anyways, this flight attendant, who's a friend of his, showed up, and she brought with her one of those boxes, you know, the ones on wheels that they serve the drinks and the food out of up the aisles. She brought that in, wheeled it up, had it set up like a beverage cart, and then she gave him a WestJet uniform to put on. And he is a very, very tall man. Actually, he used to be a little bit on the heavy side, but over the last few years, he's been doing Weight Watchers, and he's really trimmed down. So he went on, put this outfit on, came out, pushed the cart around, and it was hilarious. But boy, did he ever look the part of a flight attendant. In fact, he would make an excellent flight attendant because he has the right personality for working with people. And he has tried over the years, when he was a little younger, to become a flight attendant, but unfortunately, he always got rejected, which I don't understand why. Maybe it's because of his height, because he is very, very tall. I don't know. But anyways, it's too bad. And I think it's always been one of those things he has regretted not doing in his life. So this person brought the accoutrements for all of this, and he was really happy about that. I think that was maybe one of the best birthday presents he ever got. So yeah, that was a lot of fun last night. And of course, my first cousin came for a visit with his little girl, as I've already mentioned, and that was really nice. We ended up playing. My sister came over, my brother-in-law and my niece, and we ended up playing with Legos. My sister brought over a big box of her son's, my nephew, who, you know, has just finished university. She dug out of her basement a big box of these Legos that had a dragon theme, and so we played Legos for a while. So, you know, kind of interesting. Whole bunch of adults sitting on the floor with a little 5-year-old, you know, having dragon fights, things like that. It was kind of fun. Haven't done that in a long time. So that was really nice. And as far as classes go, well, they've started up again in terms of my sewing. So I took my first class on what they call the framed wallet, and that's it's basically a lady's wallet with a zippered pocket and credit card holders in it and the whole thing, and it has a clasp on the top, a fairly elaborate clasp, like metal bars kind of thing. And we do that all on the embroidery machine. So we had our first class with that on Friday afternoon. I think I have 2 more classes in that. It was a little complicated, a little tricky, but we got through that class no problem. And I think it'll be, you know, a very nice item when it's done. Whether I'll make more of them, you know, for gifts or something later, that's to be seen. It's not a cheap project. After you add up the materials that you need for it, the pattern, the whole bit. But it was something that's a little different, and I like to learn things that are a little different. And I also have my first class this afternoon in making what's called the Pretty Woman quilt, or the pineapple quilt. I think I did an idiot quilter on how this works out with this special ruler. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I think this quilt's going to be I know this quilt's going to be really sensational, because I've kind of worked ahead, and because I wanted to get used to using the ruler, and so I've made like 4 out of the 20 blocks that go into this. So, but I always look forward to the sewing classes, because you learn something new, and it's social as well, and I'm all about that. So that's what's coming up. And anything else? Oh, you want to know something? I skipped over. I'm sorry. In my enthusiasm to get on with telling you about my new changes and things, I forgot all about the YouTube channel of the week. So I'm going to put it in right here, right now. If you're looking for a YouTube channel that's both entertaining and educational, then I recommend the YouTube channel called Vox, V-O-X. This is a potpourri of all kinds of interesting facts and topics. For example, topics like why drugs cost more in America, China's secret internment camps, the goose that conquered America, this lake now has legal rights just like you, the truth behind the TV show Cops, etc. There's a wide variety of topics which are both entertaining but also very educational. So if you're into that kind of thing, I highly recommend Vox. Well, I said I wanted to stir things up a little bit, so there you go, out of order. So that brings me to the end of the vlog for this week. Hope you have a good week. And remember that Stephen and Walter Live will be on this coming Sunday, but instead of at 4 o'clock, it'll be at 5 p.m. Be prepared for something different. That's all I can say right now because I don't know what that's going to be. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye for now.